Let's get another view on the ground in the States. Alex Tureman, founder of Bondi Partners, joins us live. Hey, great to talk to you there in Washington, the heart of where it's all happening. We spoke to you 24 hours ago. How has your thinking changed in that time?
Well, I want to go to Mexico too. Guys, it's great to see you again. It's been a long slog of 24 hours, but I think that we're starting to see what this thing's going to look like. Vice President Biden has now won Wisconsin. Fox News is now called Michigan for him. Fox News called Arizona for him. So he's sitting at 264 electoral votes. And tomorrow morning around 9 a.m., we should get another tranche of votes from Nevada, which if he wins that, it would put him at 270. And that doesn't include Pennsylvania. So we're probably not going to know Pennsylvania for a couple days.
Okay. Alex, I'm curious. I was speaking with a guest earlier on this morning who said what the outcome of this election tells us, if we do get a Biden presidency, still a Republican Senate, is that the far left agenda has been rejected by the American people and that the far right agenda has also been rejected by the American people. What do you make of that?
I agree with that. I mean, the vast majority of Americans are within the 40-yard lines of a football field. I think what we would see with a Biden presidency and a Republican-held Senate, albeit on a slim margin, is we're not going to see many changes to the tax structure that President Trump put in place, which is probably good news for business. There may be some regulatory hurdles when it comes to environmental regulation, some sort of mining regulation, things like that. But I think for the most part, you're probably going to see a unity cabinet of sorts, potentially with some middle of the road Republicans, some middle of the road Democrats, because you got to remember that you got to get those folks, those political appointees at a certain level, approved in the Senate, which takes 50 votes. So I think we're going, it's going to be a fairly moderate cabinet, and that business. There's going to be some positive elements of it from a business perspective and potentially some negative elements of it.
Yeah, so Alex, with the likelihood then of a 10-week period of a lame duck presidency under Donald Trump, where do you see those negotiations going as far as the stimulus package is concerned? Yeah. And at the same time, I mean, you're a Washington player. You're very au fait with the way this works. The potential for extensive legal challenges from the Trump camp, what does that do to the current state of things?
Well, I saw actually a former Republican governor of Wisconsin today who mentioned that in the last two recounts, legally requested recounts from the loser in a statewide election in Wisconsin, they only resulted in about 130 votes difference. So if we do see I think when we do see a recount requested by President Trump in Wisconsin, it's not going to result in a large shift in votes. But of course, this could get tied up in legal battles. But as the networks and as the countries continue to count these votes, and we see those states flip from 2016, some of them, I think it's going to be hard for President Trump to be putting up a fight. Eventually, even Republicans in Congress and Republican governors are going to lightly recommend that, he step aside. I don't know if that will happen, but that could be the case. I think in regards to a package, stimulus package, we're going to see, as your previous guest mentioned, Larry Kudlow, we're going to see Steve Mnuchin, the Secretary of the Treasury here, come to the table with Nancy Pelosi and try to get something hammered out before the holidays, because the American people, for the most part, are hurting. And I think they want to see something get done prior to a President Biden administration. But I think long term, we're probably, after January 20th, after we have an inauguration, if, President or if Vice President Biden ends up being victorious, we're probably going to see the primary legislative objective be an infrastructure package, and a big one. It could include everything from, urban digitization all the way to rural broadband, as well as rural healthcare infrastructure. And I think that will be a good thing for the country.
Hey, Alex, one thing that we were all sort of I guess prepared for in a really depressing way as we went into this election was the potential for social unrest in the U.S. It kind of made us feel sick to our stomachs from the outside looking in. It appears as if we haven't had that type of social unrest yet. Or is that a fair question? I mean, do you anticipate that if we see a Biden presidency and, that even we have these legal challenges, things are settled in a reasonable amount of time, do you think that we might avoid the worst of that?
I think we're looking good thus far, but I think it's really contingent on what the president does. If President Trump, potentially sends out, calls on the folks in his wing of the party to stand back and stand by, I think that could be a major issue. But as of right now, things are playing out as we expected. It's going to take a few days, as we expected. But let's, fingers crossed that doesn't happen, because I think the last thing this country needs after 4 really tough years is that sort of physical violence in the street.
All right, Alex, great to talk to you. Good luck. Try and get some sleep over there. I know it's been a rough 24 hours. Thanks for joining us from Bondo Partners in Washington.
He's looking remarkably
all right, guys.
Well rested and chipper. See you, Alex.